We will now be interviewing our county attorney candidates. The county attorney candidates with us this evening include Carmen L. Patterson, Ron Worthwine, and Lisa Finke. Carmen L. Patterson and Ron Worthwine are running on the Republican ticket, therefore only one of them will advance to the general election, while Lisa Finke is the only one running on the Democrat ticket and will automatically advance to the general election. Here is an introductory statement from our candidates. Candidates, you each have 1 minute, and we'll start with Carmen.
Hello to the audience here and also to the TV audience now and in the future. I am Carmen Patterson. I have been in Campbell County since 1995 when I first started with the county attorney's office under Michael Maycock. I was there for approximately 3 years, and then I worked with Nick Carter. I was there for about not quite a year, and then I went to the public defender's office, was there for 7.5 years, and I have been in private practice since then. I believe that my 20 years of being an attorney gives me the experience that I need in order to run the county attorney's office. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we'll hear from Ron Worthwine.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ron Worthwine, and I'm running for county attorney. I've been a resident of Wyoming since 1994. I graduated with honors from the University of Wyoming College of Law in 2006. After law school, I worked for the district court judges. After that, I worked at the public defender's office, then Nick Carter's office, and then I found a home in the county attorney's office. My passion has always been for trial work, and the experience I've gained in the trials I've done and assisted in gives me valuable insight into how to make correct charging decisions and how to successfully prosecute cases. My time as chief deputy, which is the second person below the county attorney, has been immensely helpful to get me used to the issues that running a 33-person office can cause. I'm proud to be a person that the employees of the Campbell County Attorney's Office feel that they can come to when there's an issue. I'm dedicated to the office of the county attorney, and I'm dedicated to the people of Campbell County. And thank you very much for paying attention.
Thank you. Lisa Finke.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Finke, and unlike the other two candidates, I have not worked for Nick Carter. I've been a licensed attorney for 6 years. I've been a resident of Wyoming since May of 2003. I graduated from the University of Wyoming College of Law in May of 2008 and came to Gillette to actually take over Ron's position as a clerk for the district court judges. I clerked for the judges for 3 years, after which time I went to the Campbell County Attorney's Office and for a little less than 2 years was a deputy county attorney. I handled mostly juvenile cases, but I did handle criminal cases as well. I am currently in private practice. I work part-time as a guardian ad litem, representing children in abuse and neglect cases, and I also run a general practice. I'm also a circuit court magistrate and a district court commissioner, which allows me to fill in for the judges as needed, and I do serve as the substitute judge for the juvenile and family drug court. I'm very interested in serving the community and being your next county attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for the first question, which is for all our candidates. Each candidate has 1 minute to respond. Are there ways to speed up and improve the process of our criminal justice system in Campbell County? We will begin with Ron.
I think there's always ways to do things better. One of the things that the county attorney does and our office does is to make the charging decisions and to get the charging documents out. While we do that as fast as we can, it takes a lot of agencies to make that happen. In juvenile cases, DFS, Department of Family Services, and the Juvenile Probation Office, we all have to work together to gather the information. The same with criminal cases. We have many different law enforcement agencies, and we all have to work together to make sure that that happens. But in the back end, a lot of times it's the defense side that will make these, draw these out. And sometimes there's not a lot that can be done about it. If a defendant needs or says they need more time, the judge is going to give them more time sometimes. And not a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank Lisa Finke, would you
Thank-
like the question repeated?
I think I have it.
Okay, great.
Thank you. I do believe there are ways to speed up and improve the justice system in Campbell County. A large one of those is those charging documents that Mr. Worthwine referred to. I think they can be done in a more timely manner. I also think that one of the issues that is run into in many of the cases is discovery, and I think working with law enforcement to streamline that discovery process, that process of getting all the evidence to the county attorney's office, then in turn to the defense attorney, would speed up cases greatly, because one of the biggest defense delays is for discovery. So I do believe that there are ways to speed things up and make the office more efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Carmen Patterson.
Thank you. The main issue as far as the criminal justice system is actually our judges and what their caseload is. And even at the county attorney's office, we kind of rely on the judges, and they have addressed this issue, or at least tried. For instance, Judge Edelman is coming over from Buffalo and is doing child support cases, which is something that's quite new and just started this month. And that should help alleviate some of the casework for the 3 district court judges that we have. But there are particular things that I think can help in the county attorney's office. I do agree with Ms. Finke regarding the discovery and also getting things charged quickly. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. We will begin our individual questions with Lisa Finke. You have 1 minute to respond. Ms. Finke, in your questionnaire, you said you would advocate for harsher penalties for domestic abuse and sexual abuse cases. What is your plan to succeed in this?
Thank you. I believe one of the things that needs to happen is to work with all of the deputy county attorneys to make sure that sentences recommended in those cases are consistent. At this point in time, on the circuit court side of things, it seems like, unfortunately, people get less time for domestic abuse than they do for other crimes, such as, in some cases, DUI. I believe that it's the prosecutor's role to advocate for justice for the victims, and I do believe that we need harsher penalties in those areas. The other thing that concerns me about those areas and why I would advocate for harsher sentences is that many of the people who perpetrate those crimes have perpetrated multiple times before they're ever apprehended and prosecuted. They could have any number of victims before they make it to court. So I think that we need to take the role of actively pursuing harsher sentences in court in front of the judges. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now give the other candidates 30 seconds for rebuttal. We'll start with Ms. Patterson.
In the end, the only thing that the county attorney's office can do is to recommend a sentence. It's up to the judges what type of sentence that a particular defendant gets. And a lot of times they don't rely on what the county attorney's office recommends or doesn't recommend. There's been plenty of times that I've been in the courtroom that it seems like our deputies don't recommend anything anymore. And I do believe it's important to do so, but to just do particular cases, I don't believe you can do that.
Thank you. Mr. Worthwine.
Well, I think it's unfair to say that the office isn't doing anything right now like that. A case I did not too long ago, the gentleman got 125 to 200 years for sexually assaulting a little girl. We're doing that now. We're making that happen now. Is it a process? Yes. And is it a process worth doing? You bet, because we're doing it.
Thank you. Our next question goes to Carmen Patterson. You have 1 minute to respond. In your questionnaire, you mentioned having a good working relationship with law enforcement, not just with administration, but officers on the street. How do you plan to do this?
I believe that it's important for the county attorneys to do ride-bys with the officers that are on patrol. Get to know your officers and know what they go through at a night out of patrol. I do believe it's also important that to meet with them, and I realize the county attorney's office does meet with the administration, but it's the officers that are out there every day putting their lives on the line that is most important. And I do believe that by meeting with them on their own terms is very important, and finding out what they believe is most important as far as their jobs.
Thank you. We will now give the other candidates 30 seconds for rebuttal. We'll start with Ron Worthwine.
It is true that we meet with the administration once a month, at least, but not a day goes by where we don't have some sort of interaction with officers. I have officers calling me on my personal cell phone. I have officers coming to my office, and we talk. So I agree. It is very important to have that relationship with the officers on the street. In trying to strike a plea bargain, we also get input from the officers on the street, not just the, thank you, time's up.
Lisa Finke.
Thank you. I do believe it's important to have a good working relationship with law enforcement, and if I were to come in as the new county attorney, to me the biggest thing would be respect. And respect is earned. Respect is earned by showing law enforcement that they can trust you. I think a huge portion of the county attorney's job is to advise and train law enforcement, to advise them of what the law is, to give them guidance on their cases, and to help them to do their job. It's a hard job. I wouldn't want to do it, and they just want to be supported. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final question goes to Ron Worthwine. You have 1 minute to respond. How would you improve the communication with the victims of crime?
How would I improve the communication with the victims of crime? Well, some of it we already do. We have two crime victim coordinators and one assistant in the crime victim coordinators portion of our office. I work with them on a daily basis to make sure that our victims know what's going on, know where their cases are at. We get them hooked up with services, such as Vine, to allow the victims of like family violence, battery, or anything, to know when their perpetrator gets out of jail. It's very important to work with and communicate with those victims. I meet with victims on a weekly basis because it is so important to have those open lines of communication, because if we do get to trial, it's important to have that relationship with the victims so that when they testify, they feel comfortable, they feel happy, and they feel as though their voice has been heard. Thank you.
We will now give the other candidates 30 seconds for rebuttal, and we'll start with Lisa Finke.
Thank you. I agree with what Mr. Worthwine said. The county attorney's office does have a crime victims witness office. They do a great job at keeping contact with victims and hooking them up to services. But I also believe that part of communicating with victims can be done by community outreach, by letting victims know that they're safe in reporting, advising people of what services are out there. I think there's a community outreach portion that could be put in place as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Carmen Patterson.
I'm not sure really what needs improvement as far as victim witness coordinating, because I'm not in the office and have not been for several years. But I do know that the victim witness coordinator is there. Bill Monahan was essential in the office when I was there. And to meet with them specifically as the attorney that's prosecuting the case, I believe is very important. And I also agree with Ms. Finke that there should be a community outreach programs too. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to closing remarks. Candidates, you have up to 1 minute for closing remarks or to address any topics that were not covered in the questioning period. And we'll begin with Carmen Patterson.
As we go through the next 4 years, from what everyone says, we're looking at another boom. And that's going to bring more people into Gillette, more crimes, more drugs. And we need to have an attorney in the county attorney's office that has a lot of experience in a lot of different places. I have almost 20 years of experience in Campbell County. I have 20 years experience as an attorney, and I've also practiced in various aspects of the law. I do believe that I am the most qualified in order to be your next county attorney, and I do ask for your vote on August 19th. Thank you.
Ron Worthwine.
In the event of another boom, another increase in crime, I think the people of Campbell County should want someone that's dedicated to the office of the county attorney. And that's me. I got to the county attorney's office and I found a home. When I first started practicing law, I was on the defense side, and I was happy and I enjoyed my work. I enjoyed the trial work, but getting to the county attorney's office was like coming home again. It has been the greatest experience of my life to be able to, on a daily basis, work with the people of Campbell County, work with the victims of crime. I can't imagine ever leaving of my own volition. It has been a wonderful experience, and the trials and the people that I've worked with have been the greatest, and I have enjoyed it very much, and I would thank you very much for your vote in the primary.
Thank you. Lisa Finke.
Thank you. I'm running for county attorney because I believe in a lot of things. I believe that sexual assault, child abuse, and domestic violence should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I believe that citizens and employees are entitled to a county attorney who is a leader and manager and who will be present and invested in the success of the office. I believe that a county attorney has an obligation to manage the taxpayers' money in a fiscally responsible way and to be conservative in the usage of the county's funds. I believe that all citizens have the right to live in a community free of drugs where they feel safe and secure in their homes. I believe that the county attorney's office should support and respect the role of law enforcement. I believe the county attorney's office has an obligation to cooperatively work with, advise, and train law enforcement. I believe that all actions taken by the county attorney's office should be done with the highest level of professionalism. In conclusion, while I may not be on your ballot in August, I'll be there in November, and I'd appreciate it if you'd put your trust in me and elect me as your next county attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. This concludes the county attorney part of our primary election candidates forum. I would like to remind you that tonight's candidates forum will air several times before the primary election on August 19th.